When you're trying to figure out things that you might divide by to get rational roots for a polynomial, you need to get a list of things that might work. One way for us to do that is what is called the rational root test. Some people call that the P over Q method. The way that we'll do the rational root test, we'll take factors of the constant value and we'll divide it by factors of the leading coefficient. Now, it's only the constant and the leading coefficient that matter, so none of the middle terms make a difference. For this particular problem, the constant value of 3, things that might multiply to make a 3, it's just a 1 or a 3. To make it a positive, you could have a positive 1 multiplied with a positive 3, or you could have a negative 1 multiplied with a negative 3. We've got to account for the possibilities of signs up there on the top. Now, this particular problem is about as friendly as they can be because it's got a leading coefficient of 1. That means the bottom of my fraction with the rational root test is just a 1 on the bottom. Our list of possible things to divide by then would be each thing on the top divided by each thing on the bottom. For this particular problem, plus or minus 1 over 1 gives me plus or minus 1 as choices to divide by. Plus or minus 3 over 1, that gives me plus or minus 3 as choices to divide by. Some of the problems aren't quite as polite as this one. If you have one that's a little bit tougher, this time we've got a coefficient of 2 out there on the front. Now it's going to be a little more involved in finding what our possibilities are going to be. Factors of the constant, things that'll make a 5, well, it's plus or minus 1, plus or minus 5. But the factors of the leading coefficient this time, things that'll multiply to make that 2 on the front, it could be a 1 or it could be a 2. To get my list of possibilities, I now have to do each thing on top divided by each thing on bottom. Let's do each of them over 1 first. Plus or minus 1 over 1, that's plus or minus 1. If I do plus or minus 5 over 1, that's plus or minus 5. Now let's come back and do each of those things over 2. Plus or minus 1 over 2, that's plus or minus 1/2. Plus or minus 5 over 2, that's plus or minus 5/2. So now we've got a list of possible things to divide by. Some of these are going to work, not all of them. When you start trying to figure out what should I divide by, you want to make it as easy for yourself as possible. So try guessing these things that are integer values, not with the fractions. That's not to say the fractions don't work. Some of them might. But for this particular problem, it'd be easier for me to divide with the integers first and go from there. The rational root test says factors of the constant divided by factors of the leading coefficient.